Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ba'd. My name is Dr. Muhammad Dasuki bin Muhammad Sirajuddin. I'm representing my group members as we could see in the slide, and this presentation is for our international innovation on cross-disciplinary studies and Islamic contemporary insights. So my presentation is entitled Halal Supply Chain Framework for International Logistics Industry. This is my brief introduction. This project aims to enhance halal operational facilities and service capabilities, especially in the non-Muslim country or in the minority Muslim country. Why? I will explain later, inshallah. And this research also tried to offer a halal supply chain framework with with capability to address a diverse international halal regulation across various school of thought. And the last one is we try to offer more practical requirement when it's come to managing the physical aspect or the logistical aspect of halal industry. So this is the problem. I would like to begin with this problem. When the Malaysian standard has been accepted globally, most of the country, whether they are non-Muslim countries or the minority Muslim countries, they just try copy 100% all the standards and requirement. And when it is been implemented, they have came across this quite critical issue, and the issue is particularly on the strict regulation mentioned in this slide on the requirement of performing sertu. So Sartoi is the cleansing procedure from the Malaysian standard perspective when the cross contamination happen with halal product with the impurities that come from these swine and dog products or derivative. So we need to perform Sartu. That particular requirement is actually come from the ruling of the school of Shafi'i. So these are the challenges now facing by these logistics service provider when they study their own mazhab. They start to realize that this particular requirement is in conflict or not in the same requirement with their own domestic school of thought. So we need a standard when we are talking about international logistics service. We need a standard that have this capability to cater various domestic halal logistics requirement that come from different regions and different countries. Okay, and also in terms of less halal facility, imagine to perform soto in a non-Muslim countries or minority Muslim country where all these halal facilities are very limited, and also in terms of expertise. So they need to expend more on capital investment to perform these logistics activities. And please bear in our mind the logistics in halal industry or in other types of industry is the backbone. Okay, when we talk about industry, logistic is the backbone of that particular industry. So it involves a very extreme large capital investment to implement such requirement. So what are the method? We try to combine between the contemporary approach on how we could analyze the finding of contemporary research on logistics and supply chain, and we bind together with the perspective of classical Islamic ruling, and that is as we mentioned in the slide, we have came across this very unique approach in fiqh or in deriving ruling for Islamic ruling and to be implemented in this Malaysian standard, and that is at-talfiq and at-takhayyur. So we bind together this classical analysis of Islamic rulings and also the requirement with the modern logistics and supply chain issues and challenges. So this is the finding, and this is the novelty of this research. So, what is a talfiq? A talfiq is merely combining opinion from different school of thought. So let's say we have our own school of thought, and with this approach of a talfiq, we can combine our school of thought with other school of thought, and that is a talfiq. So in this case, imagine a halal logistics and supply chain operator when they follow this kind of standard and requirement that bind all of these differences in terms of ruling, in terms of Islamic rulings, in terms of ruling that come from diverse school of thought into one single practice. That is what we call a talfiq. And the second one is more approach for a halal a policy maker. So for a policymaker, they can use this approach. التخير is selecting most suitable opinion to be implemented. So we have various school of thought that contained various interpretation of the rulings. So with this approach, the policymaker can just pick up or selecting the most suitable opinion from among the various school of thought. So these are two main fiqh approach that we have proposed for this um, framework. So it is a it's a valid approach as mentioned by Imam Nawawi and also a few predominant or most well respected scholars in Islamic history. In also, this approach has been implemented successfully in the field of if we could compare the Islamic banking and Islamic finance. So we could see the Islamic banking and Islamic finance has aroused their approach and their expand their territories in terms of industry globally. So we also try to offer this approach in the context of halal industry. That is at talfiq and at takhayyur. So how does this approach will cater the issue that have we have mentioned just now? So for a school of Shafi'i, for a follower of school of Shafi'i, for example, the normal ruling is to perform sirtu. But if we use this at-takhayyur, there is a second opinion from the school of Shafi'i himself that we as a Muslim is allowed to perform normal cleansing procedure, meaning that we do not have to perform cleansing procedure using the water mixed with clay. Instead, we can perform a normal cleansing procedure by using the normal water and any form of cleansing agent. And also a takhayyur, how is that a takhayyur is applied? A takhayyur, we can merely change the school of thought of our standard or requirement in our standard. For example, we can select the most suitable opinion from the school of Maliki, for example, where in this case the Maliki school of thought have the most lenient opinion in this case, and also um, which will lead to a more easier cleansing procedure. So this is the novelty of this framework. So as we could see here, beginning from sourcing or acquiring raw material stage, manufacturing process, distribution, logistics management, information management, collaboration between all of these main parties in supply chain, and end up with retailing before end up with the customer level. If this at-talfiq and at-takhayyur approach has been implemented within all the standards and requirement in halal industry, especially in the case of the countries that have very limited halal facility, or in the case of a non-Muslim country or a minority Muslim country, this approach will make all the related process on logistic especially that maybe have came across with this cross contamination with mughallaza or the Servianage. This is the best approach on how to deal with such a strict situation. So if this has been implemented, if this approach has been implemented, what would be the impacts? Number one, it will increase the global trades and networking because we have this particular standard that bind all together the requirement that came from various school of thought. And the second one, it will increase the level of employability of local among local halal executive. We have the Malaysian requirement that only need to refer to the Malaysian halal executive, but we offer this approach, a particular non-Muslim country or minority Muslim country or a country that is still new in managing halal, they also can use their local halal executive instead of the Malaysian halal executive. And the last one is the engagement of more collaborative halal supply chain network and competitive service and facility is easier to be implemented, especially in the halal logistics operations. So that's all. Thank you from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.